Okay. All right, so the next set of lessons y'all did on Khan Academy was on multiplying powers, okay? So we have two of them. We have the product of powers and the power of a power, or a power of a product. So the first one we're going to talk about is the product of powers, okay? So if I have a to the fourth times a to the third, okay? Remember that this is a base, this is your exponent. Base, exponent, okay? Essentially, what this means is that I have a to the fourth, right? Exponents means I'm multiplying the factor times itself 4 times. So a times a times a times a. Then I have a to the third. So times a times a times a. Well, that's 4 a's and 3 a's. So that is equal to a to the 7th power. Okay, so the power of the product of a power rule, okay, product of a power rule says that if the base is the same, we can simply add our exponents. So a to the fourth times a to the third is a to the fourth plus 3. And that's how I get a to the 7th. Okay, so if I have 5 to the 9th times 5 to the 6th, then my base stays the same, and I add 9 plus 6 to get 5 to the 15th. Okay, the key here is that the base must stay the same. If there are different bases, you cannot add the exponents together. Okay, the bases must be the same. Okay, so this is multiplying powers. Product of powers just says that if our base is the same, we add our exponents. If it's a negative exponent, and we haven't gotten to negative exponents, and I'm going to do that with y'all next week. If it's a negative exponent, then you would do 4 plus negative 3. Well, that's positive 1. Okay, so if I had a negative exponent, and we'll get more into negative exponents, but if I had x to the 6th times x to the negative 4th, that's like saying x to the 6 plus negative 4, which is x squared. Okay, next week we're going to learn that that's because x to the negative 4th actually moves into the denominator. I have 6 x's in the numerator, 4 in the denominator. They cancel out to leave me with 2. Okay, but for right now, your goal is to know that if my bases are the same, I add the exponents. If my bases are the same, I add the exponents. Okay, and then the next one that y'all did was, y'all did power of a power or power of a product. Okay, so that's like saying if I have x to the 4th raised to the 3rd power. Okay, x to the 4th raised to the 3rd power. Okay, that means that I'm taking x to the 4th and I'm doing it 3 times. X to the 4th times x to the 4th times x to the 4th. Okay, that's what that means. My rule for my product of power stays the same. If my base is the same, I add my exponents. 4 plus 4 plus 4 is 12. So x to the 12th. So in conclusion, what we can say is that when we have a base with raised to an exponent, raised to another exponent, we can multiply our exponents. X to the 4 times 3 is x to the 12th. Okay? This is the exact same thing if I didn't have a variable and I was using just a number. So 5 to the 8th raised to the 4th would be 5 to the 32nd. If I took the same thing and I said 5 to the 2nd raised to the 8th, and then I raised that to the 4th, I'm still just multiplying my exponents. So 4 times 2 is 8 times 8 is 64. So this is 5 to the 64th power. You are not simplifying these, okay? We are only taking them to a base raised to an exponent. We're not simplifying them, okay? So you're just taking your base and you're multiplying it. This looks different than product of powers, where the base stays the same and I add the exponents, okay? So make sure you understand the difference, okay? Tomorrow we're gonna do quotient of powers, where we divide them out, okay? And I'll post a video for y'all then. Love y'all, bye.